Okay, Desi, I got your um, GIF open in Photoshop, and you can see it up here, Vader new GIF. And I want to make sure that my timeline is down here. I purposefully turned it off to show you how to turn it on. Window timeline, and we have to move this to the frames. This is called a frame animation timeline. As you can see, it goes from frame 1 to frame 64. And what we need to do is we need to find the frames per second of this GIF. And in order to do that, you click any of these down arrows and it'll tell you it's 0.14, but I believe some of them were 0.15. Yeah, 0.15. So what you want to do is take this number, the 14 and 15, and divide it into 1 and get the closest whole number we can, and that will be 7. So just remember that number is 7. Actually, what I want to do for this is this is just my opinion, and you can do this or not do it. But if you see at 7 frames per second, we have basically 7.5 seconds of just this black stuff, and I want to get rid of that. I'm going to go to frame 41 and frame 1, and I'm going to delete those frames. I don't know if you saw what I did. Let me do that again. I click on frame 41. I hold Shift on frame 1 and I press delete. There, that probably made a lot more sense. This is the delete thing, the garbage can. So now this GIF will play about a second and a half of the black, and then that, and it'll loop. And that's just, in my opinion, a lot better. You can leave it with all those black frames if you want, but this is just my opinion, and this is how I want to work with this, because rather than sitting there watching 7 seconds of blank, we only have to watch a second and a half of blank. Okay, so now we have this thing cropped down to what frames we want to use. We're going to export it to video. And to do that, you go File, Export, and Render Video. And let me see here. Oh, right here you select the name, Vader New, that's fine by me. Select the folder. I have it set to go to my avatars folder. You can set it wherever you want. You also want it to be set to Adobe Media Encoder. This would be an image sequence. You don't want that. You want it to be Adobe Media Encoder, which is video. Now, as far as format, you can pick any of these formats and codecs, but I'd leave mine at QuickTime because QuickTime is the best. And as far as animation quality, you can pick medium, high, or uncompressed. I'm just going to pick high. Document size is 192 by 192. That's how big your document is. And the frame rate you want to be 7. Remember how we determined that it was 7. It is not 30, so we're going to keep it at 7. As far as field order and aspect, you can leave those. These are totally irrelevant. So I'm going to press render, and it'll take like a second and a half or something to render. There we go, it's done. Now we rendered this GIF to video, all 23 frames of it. We want to open it back up in Photoshop. We don't want to import it, we want to open it. So you go File, Open, and make sure you have all formats selected. Make sure it's not on JPEG or anything. Make sure all formats are selected, and you'll see it up here, Vader New Move. It's a move file, which is QuickTime. And we open that. Now that opens it up into what's called a video timeline. So this is actually a video file that we're working on. Instead of you know, what was it, 64 frames of GIF, we're working with a video timeline. And let's have a look at it, and you'll see it's just the same thing. It plays the darkness and then plays that and then keeps looping. Okay, the first thing you want to do is move this thing up here. I just like this up here. I don't like it underneath this. And we're going to also duplicate it. And a way to duplicate it is just to take this layer and drag it to this icon right here. And we're going to double click on that and call this blue, and we'll call this one red. So blue is on top, blue is on top, red is on bottom. And you want to take the blue and move it over to here. Where this one ends, this one will begin. So you see this one ends, the red one ends, and the blue one begins. Now what we want to do to make this thing turn blue is first we'll scooch it over to a red section. Is you click this button right here. This is your create new fill or adjustment layer. So we're going to click on that and go to hue saturation. And we want it only to affect the blue layer. So watch this hand right here. Watch when I put it on this line between these two and hold Alt. It turns into that symbol. Now I'm going to left click. And what that does is it clips this hue saturation layer to the blue. So now the hue sat is only affecting the blue. I'll do that one more time. It's the same thing when you take it off. Press Alt, and when you hit that line, it turns into that funny thing, left click. Now the clipping mask is taken off. Now we'll press Alt, mouse over, left click, and you see the clipping mask is now turned on. So this hue saturation will only affect blue and it won't affect red. Okay, so what we want to do is, let's see, go to our reds, and we want to make the reds more blue. So in order to make the reds more blue, you turn it to the left, and you can pick a blue. If you were to turn it to the right, it makes it more green and whatever. Actually, that's a nice shade of blue there, all the way at the end. But let's go here. As you see, it's turning it red, and then purple, and then more purple, and then blue. And we'll just pick a nice blue. I like that one. And if you want to turn the saturation up, you can saturate it. It's kind of hard to see. Let me zoom in. Let's go back to reds. We'll turn the saturation up and turn it down. Up and down. So you may want to saturate it a little bit. Actually, that's a lot of bit, but that looks nice. So we basically made it blue, made it a blue that we pick, and we saturated it. Okay, we're pretty much done. I know it probably seemed kind of complicated to you, but we're almost there. So let's play it from the beginning. In order to play it, you would click here and drag this, I don't even know the name of this damn thing, play bar. And you can either press the play button or you can press, what is it? Space bar. Okay, so it plays and it turns red, and it plays and it turns blue, and it'll do that forever. So there we go. We got it done using video timeline and videos. And I'm sure you already know how to save a GIF. You would go File, Export, Save for Web Legacy, and make sure this is set to GIF. And right now these are my GIF settings. You can check those out, and you would save that as a GIF, and you're good to go. Alright, hope you learned something, and if you can't figure that out, there is another way to do it with frame animation, and in my opinion it's more complicated, but if you can't figure this way out, we can go ahead and do it with frame animation. Take it easy.